Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor, which is due unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Bakakadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders, the great most honorable well, and Shalom to the Lord's elect. Islam with 144,000. Shalom. Yeah, man, I wanted to talk about real wealth. Okay, what real wealth is according to the scriptures, and also, you know, the illusion of that fiat currency that Esau employs in this kingdom. Okay, and how people are chasing after it, and really, you know, they're just IOUs, they're just tokens, and you know, they're it's a false balance. It's not you know, real money according to the scriptures. Now in Genesis the 13th chapter, right, and I believe the first verse or the second verse, one of the first or second verse, it says that Abraham, okay, which is our forefather Abraham, was rich in gold, silver, and cattle. All right. When it talked about the riches of King Solomon, etc., you know, it talked about all the different kind of, it talks about gold, silver, precious gems. It talked about you know, all the different things that make up his wealth. But that's, like, you know, one of the main ones in the scriptures. Okay. And yeah, man, you know, if you look at uncertain times of war and things of that nature, when you look at gold over time always retains its value and raises in value. Okay. And as our apostles have already broke down videos and explained, okay, you look at silver, for example, you know, gold too, but silver is heavily which the gold and silver is manipulated anyway, but the silver is heavily manipulated. Okay, now you had it fluctuate up and down, and you know, it's gonna go back up. All right, it's gonna go back up, and people are, you know, buying precious metals with silver and stuff like that left, right, and center. Okay, and it's being manipulated, man. When it starts to really go up, it's gonna really you're gonna see what it really is. Now, I watched a video a while back. Now I believe it was to buy one working cow in the Viking era. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like 2-ounce silver coins. Okay, to show you, like, you know, its value. All right. Now the guy was saying that the working cow that he has in his herd is about $4,000. Okay, so if we was to go and buy the Middle Ages, the Viking era, which the Vikings were Israelites, okay, if we was to go by that value, then one silver coin, right, is would have been the equivalent of $2,000. Okay, in the time of Greece, it was 7-1. All right, and obviously it fluctuates with them bringing in other metals, inferior metals, and mixing it. You know, that was like a form of inflation back in the day. Now they don't have to even do that. Now you go to the bank, and they give you this note, and the note really should be the equivalent of, it's like, for example, over here in England, you got, let's say you got a £20 note. Pound is a measurement of weight, right? And there should be an equivalent of that, 20 pounds of silver or whatever, but that's not the equivalent. Okay, it's just fiat currency. All right, and people believe in that system, and that's what gives it its power. Plus, it's obviously backed by the powers that be, the governments, the military, like the petrodollar, for example. Okay, the reason why the dollar has that kind of value throughout this recent time period, okay, when I say recent, I'm talking about, you know, like World War II onwards, etc., is because of their power, their military. Okay, now things are changing now. You got the BRICS nations, okay. What's that? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, I believe. Yeah, okay, and they've got a couple more people joining. Okay, and they come in as an economic opposition. Okay, to that dollar power. You got the pound, you got the euro. Now, all these currencies ultimately, right? What I'll get straight to the ultimate. What the bankers want to do, the international banking elite, the ones who control all these finances, okay? They want to get everyone in society microchipped, okay? And put all your wealth, all your currency or whatever on that chip. So it's a digital currency. And that's why all the central banking, you had Bitcoin, okay, which where Bitcoin came from is still a haze, okay? Right? CIA operation or whatever it might be. They said it was some random Japanese guy that made it. And I remember watching the video and the guy's like completely bewildered at what they're saying. So that's all in-house. That was all, government operation. All right? And what's the result of all that? The result of it is that you now have all the central banks of the world looking into and developing and research and development of what? Central bank digital currencies. Was it CBDC? Okay. And where do you think that CBDC, central banking currency, is gonna be? Where do you think your wallet's gonna be if it's digital? Okay. Now some people are gonna say, well, it's the phone, it's this and that. No. Okay, it's gonna be on the microchip implant. They're gonna put it in you, and everything's gonna be on there. Your ID is gonna be on there, health records, your access to things, everything is gonna be on that chip, all in one place, man. Okay, and that chip that I'm talking about, how do I know that? That's because it's the prophecy. That's in Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 16th verse, when it says that He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their foreheads, in their right hand or in their foreheads, okay, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, okay, or the number of his name, and so on and so forth. Okay, so pretty much the scriptures tell us that without this device, this thing that's going to be cut into you, which the Greek word there for the word mark is charagma, it's something that's actually cut into you. Okay, we ain't going to be able to buy or sell without that. Now, when I say we of the household of faith, we're not going to take the microchip. We're not going to take the mark. We're going to trust in the Lord to provide for us. But the majority of people in society, what they're going to do, they're going to take the mark. Okay? They're going to go to the chipping centers. They're going to get the implant so that they can fit right into society and its regulations. Okay? Which is going to make them, basically subscribe and align with Esau as their God fully and become like a perpetual slave. All right, according to Esau's contracts. Now, obviously, the Lord's going to come and bring an end to that. But everyone that takes that chip, they're going to get destroyed, man. They're going to get judged. So this is the end goal of where these elites are going. And we always mention that interview with Aaron Russo, and when he talks about Nick Rockefeller, his friendship with him, and Nick Rockefeller told him straight that's what they wanted to do. Okay, that's part of the elite's plans. That's in Psalm 64. Micah, the 2nd chapter and the 1st verse. I'm driving, so I'm roughly paraphrasing, okay, but you can check the scriptures out that I'm quoting. But pretty much, man, so going back to the state right now where things are, things are only leading to what? Inflation and hyperinflation. Okay? And it's a matter of time before the elites crash this fiat currency system. Okay, get rid of cash, make it cashless society fully, and what? Move everything over to the digital system, with the wallet being basically you. All right, and that's all part of prophecy. Okay, now obviously we know that gold and silver is not going to save us. Okay, all right, it's our faith in Yahweh Shai. It's knowledge, wisdom, understanding is going to be the stability of our times. But part of that knowledge, wisdom, understanding is knowing that money is defense. And what's real money according to the scriptures? Gold and silver. That's why Apostle Tar, he's been saying, hey, make sure you get some silver, some gold, whatever you can get. So hey, that's just wise to do, because it will retain its value. And not only that, when they stop manipulating the silver, for example, it's going to shoot up. It already shot up. We saw little glimpses of it. It's going to shoot up even more. Okay, now is it going to save us? No, but you know, there's a reason through the Spirit why that's being said. Okay, when you got times of economic hardships, okay, and you got bartering systems going on and things like that, that gold and silver is going to go a long way, because it always has wealth. It retains its wealth. You always see that. You see that in movies and things where people, they're trying to go somewhere, I don't know, like let's say they're trying to migrate somewhere far and they need someone to help them, but they've got no money, they've got no cash on them. So the guy might say to his wife, take off the earrings, you know, and they might take off the ring and then give it to the guy, and then he'll get them across to where they need to go in that life or death situation, you know. Why? Because it has wealth. It's biblical wealth. Okay. Again, Genesis 13:1. So yeah, man, hey, this is just a quick one to say, you know, if you can, buy gold and silver, you know, and that's real wealth according to the scriptures. And obviously, ultimately, this knowledge is the true wealth, the depth of the knowledge of the Lord. Okay. And but part of that knowledge is knowing how to accrue that. Okay, King Solomon, he had great wisdom. Okay, and through that wisdom, he was able to also acquire great riches. Okay, we're not trying to be super rich on this side or anything like that. What we're trying to do is just be wise and you know, use this knowledge for stability in the dark times to come ahead, man. And ultimately, you know, it's the Spirit of the Lord, because ultimately the Lord is going to protect us through everything. Okay, that's our faith. All right, us of the household of faith, the hopeful elect. Okay. So hey, man, Lord, that was just a quick lesson. Hopefully it was edifying. With that, man, I'm going to say shalom, and on to the next one. Shalom.